Ladies and gentlemen, let me start by saying something that might shake the room just a little. You are the project, not your neighbor, not your boss, not the government, not the market, you. See, I meet people all the time who want to fix the world, fix their spouse, fix their finances, fix their job, fix their childhood, fix the weather, but they skip the most important part of the equation, fixing themselves. Now, let me say this carefully. You don't fix yourself because something's wrong with you. You fix yourself because there's more right in you that hasn't come out yet. I remember when I was broke at 25, I blamed everything: the economy, my company, my upline, the weather, my bills, my luck, even the shape of my nose. You know what finally turned things around? A mentor looked me in the eye and said, "Jim, for things to change, you've got to change, not the world, not your paycheck, not your neighbor, you." And let me tell you that one idea of personal responsibility was like dynamite. It blew up every excuse I had, and it left behind something powerful: freedom. Because if it's up to me, then I'm in control. You see, the moment you decide to fix yourself, you stop being a victim and you start becoming a leader of your own life, a leader of your mind, your day, your habits, your future. Now let's talk about what fixing yourself really means. It doesn't mean perfection. It doesn't mean pretending you've got it all together. It means working on you like a craftsman works on a masterpiece. It means saying, "I've got to clean up my attitude. I've got to stop lying to myself. I've got to stop procrastinating. I've got to start reading. I've got to start showing up early. I've got to stop expecting easy." It means you wake up one morning and say, "Today I take ownership. Not of the weather or the world, but of what I can control, my effort, my response, my growth." Let me give you a truth that's not always easy to swallow. You attract not what you want, but what you are. So if you want better results, don't just raise your voice, raise your character. If you want better opportunities, don't wait for the phone to ring. Develop yourself so that the phone has to ring. Discipline, consistency, humility, courage. Those are the tools you use to fix yourself. And the best part is, you don't have to fix everything in a day. You just have to start. Pick a habit, pick a weakness, pick an excuse, and go to work. Now here's something powerful. When you fix yourself, everything else around you starts to shift. Your relationships change. Your confidence grows. Your future opens up. Not because the world got easier, but because you got stronger. Let me leave you with this. Don't wish for life to be easier. Wish for yourself to be better. Don't wish for fewer problems. Wish for greater wisdom. Don't wish for more breaks. Build more skill. You see, the world is always going to throw challenges your way. But if you become the kind of person who can rise above them, who can respond with clarity and strength, then you won't just survive, you'll thrive. Fix yourself, not just for success, not just for peace, but because your future self is counting on you to do it. And I promise you, when you do, everything changes. Work harder on yourself than you do on your job. This is one of the cornerstone philosophies of Jim Rohn, and it has transformed countless lives, not because it's catchy, but because it is profoundly true. At its core, this idea shifts the focus of growth from the external to the internal. Most people spend their lives trying to fix the world around them, improve their paycheck, find better jobs, chase opportunities, and hope for promotion. But they neglect the one area that has the power to influence all those outcomes: themselves. What does it mean to work on yourself? It means you commit to the idea that you are the best investment. Your mindset, your skills, your character, your habits, your personal philosophy, these are the elements that determine how far you go in life. A person might spend 10 hours a day at a job, giving their best, showing up early, staying late, meeting deadlines, and completing tasks. But if they go home and never pick up a book, never question their attitude, never reflect on their values, never examine the way they speak, lead, love, or learn. They remain stagnant on the inside, even while they stay busy on the outside. Your job is what you do, but you are who you are, and who you are determines how well you do what you do. Working harder on yourself means you're constantly asking, am I becoming the kind of person who can handle more responsibility, who can lead with wisdom, who can influence others positively, who can grow in discipline, who can be trusted with greater things? Because if you become more, you will inevitably attract more. You see, the marketplace doesn't reward activity, it rewards value. If you want to earn more, be promoted, be trusted with more opportunities, or have more people follow your lead, you have to increase your value. And you increase your value by working on yourself, learning how to communicate better, how to think more critically, how to lead with compassion, how to organize your time, how to stay consistent when others quit. These are personal growth areas that separate the extraordinary from the average. Let's say you're working a job that pays a certain salary. You're doing well, but you want more. Most people in that situation will go looking for a new job or complain that they're being underpaid. But the better strategy is to say, what kind of person would be paid more? What kind of skill sets, attitudes, problem-solving abilities, leadership qualities would earn the kind of salary I want? And then, instead of waiting for someone to give you more, you develop those qualities and become that person. Over time, the world responds, not always immediately, but eventually, because you've raised your own value. This principle also applies beyond money and jobs. It touches relationships, parenting, faith, influence, legacy, every part of life. You want a better marriage? Work harder on yourself than you do on your partner. You want to be a better parent? Work on your patience, your understanding, your example, more than you try to fix your child. Want to lead a team or build a business? Work harder on your vision, your empathy, your clarity, your consistency, more than you work on the product or the service. The people who rise in life aren't always the most talented. Often, they're the ones who outgrow their problems because they outgrow the version of themselves that created those problems. They get new habits, new mental models, new disciplines. They stop blaming circumstances and start training themselves to rise above them. You can have a great job but a poor life if you ignore yourself. You can be busy every day, meeting targets and checking boxes, but internally be running on empty. The job may give you a paycheck, but the work you do on yourself gives you a future. That's why Jim Rohn would say, work on your job and you'll make a living. Work on yourself and you'll make a fortune. And that fortune is not just financial. It's mental peace, emotional strength, spiritual depth, relational harmony, and the ability to weather storms with resilience. Working on yourself means you are the student and the project at the same time. It means you read not just to pass time, but to sharpen your thinking. You journal to gain self-awareness. You exercise to build discipline. You forgive to become free. You meditate to stay centered. You practice gratitude to shift your focus from lack to abundance. You take care of your inner world because that's the soil from which everything else grows. It's easy to get caught up in the trap of thinking that external success is enough. But there are people who climb the ladder of success only to realize it was leaning against the wrong wall. They neglected their integrity, their family, their health, their soul. When you work harder on yourself, you align your actions with your values. You build a life that's not just successful, but sustainable. And more than that, it becomes meaningful. No one gets great by accident. Greatness is a result of deliberate, daily choices to invest in yourself, to push past laziness, to admit when you're wrong, to get up when you've failed, to keep going when you feel stuck. It's a journey of self-mastery, and that's the most empowering journey you can take. Every time you show up early, not because someone's watching, but because you've decided to be excellent, that's working on yourself. Every time you choose to listen instead of react, read instead of scroll, create instead of consume, save instead of spend, love instead of criticize, you're building the kind of person who earns trust, who commands respect, who draws opportunity like a magnet. The secret is this: if you want to change your life, you don't need to chase better things. You need to become a better version of yourself, and the better you become, the more your world expands to match that growth. People will notice, doors will open, relationships will deepen, not because you forced it, but because you became the kind of person who naturally attracts those outcomes. Working harder on yourself doesn't mean neglecting your job, it means enhancing it. Because as you grow, you bring more to the table. You become more focused, more efficient, more dependable. You stop needing motivation from others because you've developed internal drive. You stop waiting for opportunities because you've prepared yourself to recognize and seize them when they come. Imagine if every year you could say, I'm wiser, stronger, more disciplined, more grateful, more focused, more loving than I was last year. That's success. And when you stack year after year of that kind of inner work, the compounding effect is unstoppable. Too many people want a better life, but are unwilling to become a better person. They want higher pay without higher discipline. They want a promotion without growing their leadership. They want better results with the same mindset that created the old ones. But life doesn't work that way. Your life will always rise or fall to the level of your personal development. So wherever you are, whatever you do, remember, your job is important, but you are more important. Your work is noble, but your growth is necessary. Don't get so caught up in working in your life that you forget to work on your life. Read the books, ask for feedback, reflect daily, surround yourself with people who stretch you, choose growth over comfort, choose character over convenience, choose progress over perfection. Because at the end of the day, your job may change, your career may shift, the market may fluctuate, the economy may rise and fall. But the one thing you take with you everywhere, in every season, in every challenge and opportunity, is you. So make it your mission to make yourself better, not just for success, but for significance, not just to earn more, but to be more. Because when you work harder on yourself than you do on your job, you don't just build a living, you build a life worth living.